Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. Gothic 3 is one of my most favorite RPGs ever. From time to time I always go back for another playthrough and check out what's happening in the modding community. Gothic games in general have an amazing modding community that continues to support these games. I know that modding can be intimidating to some people, but the mod we're going to talk about today is very easy to install. And more importantly, it's going to substantially improve your Gothic 3 experience in a lot of ways. If you want to go back or even try this game out for the first time ever, I would highly recommend watching this video and using the mod I'm talking about. I'm even going to show you how easy it is to install everything later in the video. The one and only mod you'll need for this to work is called Union. Union is actually a collection of different mods wrapped together in one package, which makes installing the whole thing pretty damn easy. In the past, Gothic 3 has received a couple of very important and we could even say essential mods. Mods like Quest Packet and Content mods would add a lot more quality content in the game. But you would need to install them all separately and there was always a chance to mess something up, compatibility issues, etc. Well, not anymore. Union is a collection of previous major mods for Gothic 3 and a lot more than that. However, Balance Ultimate mod is the main reason why I decided to make this video in the first place. This is a game changer mod for Gothic 3, so we're going to focus on its features and all the major changes. I'm going to showcase the features and explain why you should definitely try this mod out on your next playthrough. But I'm also going to show you how to install Union and use the mod manager for Gothic 3. It's a requirement for all of this to work, but it's very easy, don't worry. Besides the Balance Ultimate, Union mod package contains a bunch of different mods you can choose to enable, and I'm going to show you what I personally use. First of all, Balance Ultimate is a huge mod which doesn't only tries to properly balance all the mods in the package, but it also adds new interesting gameplay features. Features which will make certain playstyles more viable and, more importantly, much more fun to play. For example, Thief, Battle Mage, Magic in general, and pretty much all available playstyles are drastically improved and properly balanced. The author of this mod included new types of crossbows and magic bolts, which improves this playstyle in an interesting way. Balance Ultimate has reworked all armors, weapons and items in general, meaning that requirements for wearing them and bonuses it gives to your character have been changed. They are changed in a way to complement all playstyles in the game, with a big emphasis on improving the progression system. All the perks and skills have received the same treatment, and like I said before, there are new features added. Magic in general has received a lot of changes as well. All magic staves can be reworked, as well as druid stones, which now allow you to have a much better experience if you want to become a druid.
What a monster!
If you played the mage in Gothic 3 before, you know that some spells are very hard to cast, especially in combat. Balance Ultimate increases the casting speed of some spells like Heal, Flame Wave and some other spells, which makes them much more viable now. It makes your character less static than before when you cast these spells. All armor in the base game, as well as from all the mods in this package, have been reworked. You're going to find a lot new armor pieces and weapons, which you can use as a low-level character. Shortly after you begin the game, you'll notice that now you can equip items like shields, two-handed weapons and various beginning armors, presuming you can find them. Most of these basic and worn items don't have any additional requirements, you can equip them from the very beginning. A lot of merchants will be able to sell you various useful items and you find new crafting recipes. Crafting in general is much better and very useful in this mod package. Lastly, this mod package includes an amazing UI overhaul which makes the game look really nice. New loading screens, main menu and all that stuff is included as well. That will be a quick overview of major features from Balance Ultimate and Union.
Ahoy, matey! Headed for a great adventure!
Yo, what up? So I figured this will be easier to explain on camera and I'm gonna try my best to keep it short and sweet.
Enough, I'm not here for sex.
I already pre-recorded the whole install process and I'm just going to lead you through the video I did about the whole install process and stuff. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin. The folder you see on the screen is basically all the files you need for this to work, and I will leave all the download links in the description so you can download them one by one or however you want. So if you ever installed Gothic 3, I guess in the past you probably already heard about the patch like community patch 175. The game is basically unplayable without this patch. So it's available on the Steam branch, on beta branch. If you have the GOG version, I guess your version is already on 175, so you can basically skip this step. But if you don't have it and you don't want to use the branch version on Steam, I will leave all download links in the description of the video, so you can download this patch. So yeah, go ahead and install that. It will basically automatically find your where your Gothic 3 is installed, where your Steam is installed, and it shouldn't take long. And after that, you need the patch called Update Pack 1.04. It's important to install it in this specific order. This patch will install really fast because it's just an upgrade, but it won't automatically detect where your Gothic 3 folder is, so you have to navigate through a Gothic 3 folder like I did on the screen here, and you just go ahead and install it. But before that, you can select this option you see on the screen called Armor Fix, which is actually selected by default. It just replaces the armor from Forsaken Gods starting armor to original Gothic 3. It depends on what you like, but if you're not sure, just leave it on by default. Now, the next thing we need to do is once again install the update pack, but this time we need update pack 1.05 public beta. You will absolutely need this update in order for a new UI in the game to work. And Balance Ultimate mod comes default with this UI mod, but you still need the update pack 1.05 public beta. So when you download it, it comes as a zipped file, so you just go ahead and open it, and you extract all the files from this package directly to your Gothic 3 folder. And once you press OK, it should ask you to replace some files, which you'll need to do. Like, just press yes to all, and you just wait, and that's pretty much it. The next patch we need is called Parallel Universe patch, which is a newish patch for Gothic 3, which basically it gets rid of like 99% of all the stutters and freezes in the game, which were pretty common in Gothic 3 like for a long time. And this patch came out of nowhere and basically fixed all the technical issues with the game. And yeah, you're going to install it. It's really easy. It will automatically detect your Gothic 3 folder, and you just go ahead and install it. Some of the mods from the Union package will require this mod in order for them to work, so yeah, go ahead and install that. And we finally came to Union. So you're going to have this zip file of Union basically, and you're gonna do the similar thing you did before with the update pack. You just find the Gothic 3 folder and extract all the folders, all the contents from Union zip pack to your Gothic 3 folder. Union file is almost like 4 gigabytes, so it's a bit bigger. It might take you a bit longer compared to the rest to extract, but it shouldn't take very long on a modern PC, I guess. Now, the next step is to open your Gothic 3 folder and find the Union folder that you just extracted in the last step. And the reason you want to do this is to find the folder MDS. Open that, and you have this application, which is basically Gothic 3 mod starter application. You're going to use this application to start the game every time you enter Gothic 3. It's the most convenient way to activate mods for a Gothic 3 and play the game with just a single button. And I also recommend making a shortcut and putting it on your desktop. It's much easier to run the game like that than always try to look for it in the files. The first time you open up this application, you will notice that it will look for the Gothic 3 .exe file. So you need to navigate to your, it should be by default, it should offer you by default the folder you need with Gothic 3 exe file. So you just go and select the file and just press open. Now, the thing with this mod launcher, you might have some problems like you see on the screen, but it's not a big issue. It's easily solvable, and I'm gonna show you how. If you have this like list index out of bounds, basically all you need to do is just press this button here that says delete mods from the game, press OK, and exit exit the program. And you also need to delete one very small file from this folder called FLM. So if you see here, right here, it has like 1 kilobytes of data. So you go ahead and delete that, and you reopen the program, and you should be good to go. The error should disappear. So we came to the most important process of installing the mods or activating the mods. Actually, they're pre-installed. You just have to activate the ones you want, basically. And the first thing you will probably notice about this mod launcher, all of the mod descriptions are on Russian. The main thing you should know, even without knowing Russian, is, for example, this citizen texture requires content mod base. So when you see this, it basically means that the mod you want to enable requires the mod you see on the screen, like this content mod base. That will be on English. That's basically all you need to know. And if you want to read the whole description of mods, you just copy and paste it to Google Translate, I guess, like I did. But you won't need to do that if you just want to follow my instructions and use the mods I used in the video. But if you want to experiment a bit by yourself, you probably need Google Translate and copy and paste stuff. Like I said before in the video, one of the main mods in this mod package are quest packet and content mods, and you can see they're actually first on the list in this mod launcher. But what's interesting about content mod is this mod launcher allows you to activate separate features of the content mod, because content mods is a huge mod with a bunch of different features, and you can actually choose which features you want in your game by activating them from this mod launcher here. And I'll show you what I use and what I don't use, but of course you can use whatever you want. I like these citizen textures because they are very similar to, actually almost identical to previous Gothic games, and how civilians in cities and basically regular NPCs looked. So yeah, I like to enable that texture mods. I also like new assassin textures and new mercenary textures. It's basically just a recolor of the old armors in the game, but it gives them a nice fresh look. And then I also like smart monster skins. I don't really like to change like all of the monster textures in the game, but I like this beautiful shadow beast model that I use. But you can enable what you wish, basically. So the next mod we need to enable, actually this is a requirement for Ultimate Balance to work, is called menu updated. And this is that new menu UI that I talked about in the video. But in order for it to work, you also need the next mod called menu ultimate. So you need to enable those two mods. It's not optional if you want to use balance ultimate mod that I featured in the video. So just go ahead and enable both of those mods. I tried enabling German voices mod here, and that was supposed to give voice lines to all the quests and additional dialogue from other mods like content mods, but it doesn't seem to work on the English version. But you can try it, maybe it just doesn't work for me, although I'm pretty sure it only works on German version of the game. Then we have the mod called screaming sound, which only just removes the annoying death sound upon death. If you play Gothic 3, you know how annoying it is. And speaking of sound mods, I like to use Smart Sound Pack, which adds a lot of new sounds to animals and monsters. It increases the volume of some sounds. It adds some missing sounds, like blocking a monster attack. Some of those sound features in the base game felt really unfinished, and this mod helps with that a lot, so I like it. Then we have some optional textures that you can install for the world, and I went with Smart Texture Pack, which makes the game look very, very similar to the alpha state of the game. So if you're not familiar with that, you can just take a look at the screenshot. It doesn't tell you much, but you can get an idea of how your textures will change. So the game is not that colorful with that Smart Texture Pack. It's supposed to simulate Gothic 2 and Gothic 1 because those games were much darker in general. And I usually don't like to use textures like this because I like how Gothic 3 base game looks, but for this playthrough I wanted to try it out. Then I enable Quest Fix mod, which is supposed to fix some additional quests from the content mod, I guess. It's not a huge deal, so you go and enable that. Then we came to the mod called Main, which is actually a huge deal, and you're required to enable content mod base, the second mod that we talked about in the beginning of this installation process. So yeah, just go ahead and enable that. It gives you a bunch of different stuff, and more importantly, the Ultimate Balance mod will balance out all of that content like I mentioned before in the video. So you just go ahead and enable that. Then we have the Consequences mod, which adds some additional dialogue lines, and it's supposed to simulate some consequences for action in dialogue. And you'll notice that right from the beginning of the game if you talk to every NPC in the first area in Ardea. And then we came to Lively Towns mod, which is a huge mod which it might not sound like a huge mod, but it does a lot of stuff, and I recommend just reading the description on ModDB or just copying this to Google Translate. You don't want to play the game without this mod because it redesigns basically all of the cities in the game, not just with NPCs and the density of NPCs, but it also adds a lot more meshes and textures. It expands some of the buildings in the game in all of the cities basically. After you install it once, you don't want to play the game without it, trust me, so go ahead and enable that. Just be sure to check the requirements for it, because as you can see, it requires main, the mod that we enabled before, and update pack 1.04 that we installed before, and parallel universe patch that we also installed. So like I said, those patches are basically essential for this configuration to work. I wasn't lying. If you didn't believe me before, now you should. Then we have LTM smelting mod, which improves the crafting in a couple of ways, and I highly recommend using it. It also gives you the option to turn worn armors and worn weapons into raw materials, which is pretty cool, so I would definitely recommend installing that mod as well. I mentioned the ability to teleport with your followers before, and this is the mod you need in order to do so. So you just go ahead and enable LTMT teleport NPC mods. You need that. And then we have a very interesting mod that expands another underdeveloped feature of Gothic 3, which will be arenas. It improves basically all arena fights, it adds more opponents, and overall it improves the arena experience in Gothic 3. I would highly recommend using it. I also like to use this next mod, which adds 5 new dragons in the game. It basically adds more fights and they look cool. So then we have more teleporting stones, which is pretty self-explanatory. It adds more teleporting stones into game. Some of them are pretty random, while others are pretty useful, so I would recommend enabling that as well. I mentioned the Thief quest before in the video, and this is the one, and you should know that it's this mod, so you go ahead and enable that. Then we came to the mod called Conquest. It's the one for improving the revolutions in the game, so I would highly recommend using it as well. And we came to the mod that I actually didn't talk about in the video because I kind of forgot. It's called CNQ Enclaves. If I understood it correctly, and I have my Google Translate opened on my right monitor, it basically adds new cluster of NPCs to fight in populated areas like bandit camps. For example, Ortega bandit camp, bandit camp on the road to Montera, Kurt's bandit camp, Ivan's bandit camp, and a lot more. As you can see, it also requires the previous mod we enabled called Conquest, so they go very well together, and I would definitely recommend installing them, and yeah, they can only add to the experience. Another mod I talked about in the video called Magic Staffs, you just go ahead and enable it. It basically improves all the mages in the game by giving them specific stats for their class. For example, water mages will have a water staff or an ice staff, and fire mages will have fire. And we came to the main mod in the game called Balance Ultimate. Like I said, the whole video was about Balance Ultimate basically. I don't want to repeat myself, so you will see that you need content mod base to enable it, and the main mod we enabled here. So yeah, go ahead and enable that. The last mod on the list is completely optional. It basically helps you to become a paladin a lot sooner by reducing the stats for the skill paladin in the game. The last and a very important step for all of this to work is to press the button called Integrate Mods. Now this will definitely take a while, even if you have a beastly PC, at least in my experience, but it shouldn't. It also depends on which mod you enable, but you will see the progress bar once you start integrating mods in the corner of the screen, and after that's done, you just press Start Game and you're all good to go. And like I said before, you will need to use this launcher every time you play Gothic 3, so it's smart to have a shortcut on the desktop and use it as a game icon. And once you open the program, you just press Start Game. You don't have to integrate mods every time you open the launcher. You just start the game and that's it. Unless you want to try out some of the other mods on the list, you'll need to check them and then press Integrate Mods again. So just keep that in mind, and also keep in mind the compatibility and the required mods for the mod you wish to enable. And that's pretty much it. Congratulations, you installed the best version of Gothic 3. And back to the regular C4G without a face.
I hope that was easy to understand, and tell me in the comments if you plan to install this mod for your next Gothic 3 playthrough.
Don't forget to subscribe, and liking the video would mean a lot. Speaking about supporting the channel, I recently made my official merch website with a bunch of cool t-shirts and hoodies, so you can check that out. There are some very cool designs in the theme of the channel, and I plan to add a lot more. And if you want to support the channel more directly, you can always become a Patreon or a YouTube member. Many thanks to all of my current supporters, and I'll see you in the next one.